close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on. Through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. See the horizon turn us to thousands, and we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And
And with that, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Grant Magic of the Virgan Republic. This is the Virgan radio service. That was Cartoon On and On featuring Daniel Levi, an NCS release. With me today, I have the leader of Fitzerland. Hello, sir. How are you today?
Hello, Grant. I'm doing pretty great, actually. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for asking. Let me pull up the old question notes. So if you could state your name and your country for a start.
I am Maxwell Bearden, Maxwell A. Bearden, however you want to say it, of the Republic of Fitzerland. I'm the president, and yeah.
Fitzerland is a very unique name. Tell us how Fitzerland got its name.
Actually, it's it's probably one of my favorite stories of the nation, and we have a few. So, Fitzerland was originally a name given to a one of my friends, who's actually the one of the Supreme Court justices of Fitzerland. He played a game where we would name nations after like our names. Like I had a friend named Max. He was Mexico. I had a friend named Joe. He was Joe Pan, and so my friend named Sean Fitzgerald. He was, excuse me, he was Fitzerland, yeah. And so that sort of sat with us for years. We didn't really think of it, but in the meantime, I had gotten interested in micronationalism, and one night I presented myself to a group of friends and said, "Do you want to make a micronation with me?" Uh, to, I guess, promote political equality in such a politically clashing world we have today. And so we chose a few names. The first, my personal idea for a name would have been Micrea, which is micro in Irish Gaelic. Excuse me. Another friend said Footland. I'm not really sure about that. But eventually we settled on Fitzerland, and hasn't changed since.
Very good story. Tell us about the future goals of Fitzerland. Its ambitions and what it hopes to achieve as a nation as a whole.
So currently we are having what is known as the Fitzish flag debate, which our flag, in my opinion and a few other people's opinion, looks very similar to the flag of Scotland. And so we decided that there probably needs to be something done for that. So we developed an inspiration by the New Zealand flag debate, even though that turned out inconclusive. We had decided that a referendum sort of debate needed to occur. That's been going on for actually about a day now, but we plan on having that done by, I would say, end of January, to decide whether or not we're going to have a new flag. Another ambition or hope or project we're actually pursuing is what we know as the Maxia project. There is a swamp not too far from us that we control that goes by the name New Wentworth, and it's a very messy area. But we first intend on cleaning the area, and second intend on building an island within the swamp around a shallow area. What else do we have?
So do you plan to do some construction in this area and have it contain bits of Fitzerland, like economic buildings and maybe even government buildings?
Yeah, I had actually thought of building like a small like cabin, possibly. I had also thought of setting up like a shop and like sort of making it a tourist destination. Not really exactly tourist destination, but a spot for the British economy, similar to like New York, but on a wildly smaller scale. And it had crossed my mind a few times. I'm not entirely sure, but our current capital is Williamsburg, situated entirely within the state of Beardenvolk. We had, or I had, excuse me, I had thought that possibly, just maybe, that we could make Maxia the new capital. But I'm not entirely sure at all, as it's hard to reach. There's often flooding in the region, or swamp, excuse me. And it'll be hard or difficult project to pursue and eventually complete.
So how do you plan
Sorry.
on going about clearing out this swamp, this area that constantly floods, and how will you keep it from flooding again and again?
Well, we don't intend it not flooding. I believe that flooding like this is completely natural. Um, what we're going to do is work around the flooding. The flooding, the swamp is at the very bottom of hills around the area, and uh, usually rises possibly, I'd say, around 6 inches usually. Um, but that's really on bad times. It barely, I wouldn't say barely. It rises and falls often. But what we intend on doing is uh, put building the dirt very high, like I possibly a foot out of the water. While this is difficult to get to, uh, it will work around the issue of the uh, flooding. Another thought we actually had was having a lower level and then an upper level. The lower level would be subject to flooding, and then the upper level would be safe and dry. This would be less costly, but we would have less land to work on.
Well, it sounds like a fair way to go about things. You mentioned that Fitzerland has a flag design competition going on between other nations. If I'm not mistaken, Fitzerland actually runs a design and service itself, doesn't it?
Yes, we do. It's run by yours truly.
What kind of
It's known as
what kind of things do you design for people?
the Micronational Graphic Design Service, or MGDS, designs pretty much everything for your micronational needs. We design currency, we design seals, flags, maps occasionally. Um, can't really think of propaganda. We do that. Um, anything really, if you ask for it. And it's all 100% free. I do not intend on keeping any or obtaining any profit from this. I want it's sort of a personal project by myself, but I wish to see new micronations look more professional in an environment where the most professional seem like the most successful.
Fair enough. What's the average cost of something like this?
Nothing at all. It's 100% free. All of it, everything.
And why have you decided that that you won't charge for things like this?
Um, I guess it was an. I don't really know how to describe it. I guess I just wanted to see people be. I don't really. I guess I. Oh, I'm saying I guess a lot. I'm sorry,
It's alright.
but
Take your time to think.
um, I wanted to see micronations, the new micronations, look like they've been around for a while. Because if you look at famous micronations like Sealand or Molossia or Australasia, they look extremely professional. Like they bought the kind of stuff. So while my skills aren't as, I guess you would say, the best, you I like they would get they would look professional, or at least attempt to. And
They would get a decent product. Is that what you're trying to say?
yes, yeah, exactly.
Fair enough. Let's move on to the current state of the micronational community. What do you think is going on right now? And there's not a lot happening, but what do you think of the current state of the community right now?
Well, I believe that we've actually hit like a low point, but on it, we'll head right back up within a month or so. Um, we, I would say that there has been a lot of divide recently with the bigger players in the field. Um, there's been a lot of declarations of war, uh, a lot of threats, a lot of lying, a lot of just I would say in not exactly incorrect. Excuse me, not exactly incorrect actions, but um, uh, unmoral actions.
You
Um,
you mentioned a divide. What kind of divide is this you speak of?
there's there's definitely a divide between um, as it. I mean, I would say that there's a divide between uh, I guess the political ideas deals of micronations. For example, like Burlington, they're devoutly socialist, uh, and you see folks like uh, uh, excuse me, Victorium. You see, uh, uh, excuse me if I pronounce this wrong, but the Kayanian Union. Their flags, from what I know, is bicolor of black and white. Um, but they've called out Burlington, and then Burlington has shut them out. They blocked them. Can't even hear what they say. Um, so that is definite divide. There's also divide between religious ideals, um, between economics, between land. Well, in Demolica or around. I mean, not Demolica anymore. Excuse me. Um, Bradlow, uh, Bradland. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's the
Um,
Bradbone Empire that controls the Molocha currently, but
yes.
he states it's Molocha. Uh, what he what he stated on last week's stream was it's more of a Taiwan situation where one says
Oh,
no,
okay.
this is mine, and the other's like no, it's not.
Okay. Well, there's obviously that, but there's also like the Republic of Grata fighting Kindaria over in Missouri. Um, from what I've heard, uh, they're fighting like using uh, pellet guns and shooting each other for control of a neighborhood.
If I can just actually cut you off right there, what's your opinion on these? I'm not gonna use the word war as such, but proxy war using these pellet guns and whatnot.
I would not use the term uh, proxy war for a situation like the situation in Missouri. I would use. I wouldn't use war. I would use a micronational war. Uh, War is defined by fighting between two groups of people, uh, not necessarily violent or not necessary, not necessarily killing people or not. Um, I've had many discussions with, uh, excuse me, former President Dan of New Westphalia over whether or not it's actually a war over there. I believe that it's a war. I believe that people are actually fighting, and people are injured. People are being injured because it's BB guns. They're pellets actually hitting little kids. It's an actual fight.
But if see the way I look at it is, if no one dies, it's really not a war, because it's only through sustaining casualties like that ground is either gained or lost. Seeing micronational war as a real thing is quite an unpopular opinion, and I commend you on your bravery in saying that on live air. But I mean, if you think micronational war's a real thing, I mean, hats off to you. You mentioned the Burlington earlier. What do you think's Burlington's deal? They're going about blocking people, and they don't want to hear anyone else's opinion. And what do you think of this nation, and the man, the supposed man who runs it?
Well, let me just sort of get this out of the way. I don't dislike socialism. I just believe that it will not work. It seems like a perfect system, but there's human variables that are added to this. I believe that Burlington is not valid due to the fact that they've been blocking out people who have differing opinions and different sayings, similar to I would say the Iranians during or after the Iranian Revolution, during the Iranian Revolution. It is unprofessional to do this, to block out people who have differing opinions of your interest, of your interest. I personally am a liberal, but every single day I see conservative micronations saying conservative things. It gets me angry, but I do not block them out. I do not invalidate their opinion, because it's important to understand the other side and understand what they see as I wouldn't really say moral, I'd say their ideas. So Burlington's acting very unprofessional in this entire situation.
Why do you think why do you think Burlington blocks people who contradict his own political ideas? Why do you think he does it? What do you think he has to gain out of doing that? Does he have anything to gain out of doing that?
Excuse me. Sorry for cutting you out. I would say it. He believes that people who call him out, who fight his opinions, I believe that he believes that they are hurting him, that they, I guess, hurt his ideas. Excuse me. And so, in blocking out the people who have differing opinions and who call him out for his socialism, that would in turn, I believe that they believe that strengthens their socialist ideas and their political ideology in an entirety.
Coming across Burlington has brought up some old thoughts for myself. He seems like he's maybe a new Catan. Recently, images and messages between some of the Catan high command and or friends, possibly not friends now, have surfaced that King James, Class and White of Catan, has actually been hit with a tracker on his ankle because he phoned the police claiming a false bombing, or there was a false bomb threat that went through his dorms, and he phoned the police. What do you think that this man is crazy enough to do that?
I'm sorry, you cut out right there. I didn't really catch it.
Oh, sorry. Recently, images and messages have surfaced that James Clason White of Catan has been hit with a tracker on his ankle because he phoned the police about a false bombing through his dorms at university. Personally, I don't believe that to be true. I think James is a bit of a nutcase, but I don't think he's that absolutely bananas to do that. What do you think that this is true? That he does in fact have a tracker on his foot given to him by the police because he actually did phone them about a false bomb?
Well, in my opinion, I believe that we don't have all the evidence, and in turn, because of the situation with Katan, I don't think we'll ever have any definitive evidence of whether or not he actually has done this. The James's James's entire, like, I guess, reputation has been built upon the fact that he's sort of, I wouldn't say crazy, I'd say a little bit unstable, I'd say, due to the fact that he's lying a lot. I would say that we don't really have all the evidence. While the tracker does seem very definitive that he has that he has done these actions, we don't have everything we need to know to truly know that he is this unstable.
How unstable do you think this guy actually is?
We know that he's a very
troubled person.
Compulsive liar,
troubled person. Continue,
please. Yes, exactly. He has done some things on the account that or on Twitter, on his account, that are very untruthful. That would show that there's some, I guess you could consider, instability. Yet at the same time, it's not exactly definitive that he's completely unstable. It does show that he's a fraud, and he's poisonous to the community. we're in a state after we have found this evidence that he possibly threatened the police to bomb the dormitories. We possibly have evidence that he's unstable. Yet we don't have definitive evidence. From the evidence that we do have, I would say that he is somewhat unstable. That he could do some actual damage to the online community, the real life community, and furthermore, yet we don't know exactly how much he could do to this.
Do you think? Do you think he's a threat to micronationalism? With him harassing the West Yorkshire police to this very day. This was covered weeks and weeks and weeks ago, about a month and a half ago, when these interviews started with New Westphalia. He was still harassing the West Yorkshire police, and he's still doing it now. Do you think that this guy poses a threat to our way of life because of what he's doing?
I most certainly do. He is giving us a bad name. He is through his lies, through his possible threats of bombing a dorm, through his attacking of the police, he has given micronationalism a bad name. He has harmed us in ways that it's possible they're unerasable. He has, I guess, changed people's views for the worse. Micronationalism can be simulation. It can be a political statement. It can be just for fun. It can be a way of expressing yourself. But threatening police officers and calling out nations and blowing up dormitories is not at all what we stand for whatsoever.
Now, one of Catan's Twitters used to be quite popular. Around 600 followers. They're enough, that mark. Do you think that that if even one person seen what he does and got the wrong impression, do you think that person could possibly report micronationalism to police authorities, and then it becomes internationally banned because of how dangerous this one man is actually viewed? This individual over the entire community.
Oh, excuse me.
Excuse me.
Thinking about it now, I don't exactly see how this one man, James, could affect the entire community. While it is somewhat possible that someone could get the absolute wrong message and then message people and then get the entirety community shut down, it seems within the realm of possibility, yet it also seems very radical. I would like to assume that it won't, that people will not get the wrong image about the community from this one terrible person who's spreading lies and spreading terrible things. One person's action should not reflect everyone else's actions within a community.
Why do you think James says all these lies? You stated that he was a compulsive liar. No, this is found to be true. He's fake documents, as I stated weeks and weeks ago. He faked documents with recognition from Theresa May of the United Kingdom and Donald Trump with the United States. Now, the only micronation to date to gain recognition from one of these countries was Sealand about 20 years ago, and it still remains a recognised nation in the UK's documents to this day. Why do you think James lied about this until I wouldn't say we harassed him about it, but extreme questioning went on, and then it was found to be faked, and he didn't he blamed the faking of the documents on someone else. Why do you think he faked this kind of huge document?
I believe that he faked these documents in order to gain attention. I've experienced some similar things to this, not at this extent, not to the point where I lie very compulsively. But I believe that he's just searching for attention, searching for friends, but he's gone way too far. He's, as you said he got recognition from the U.S., which is completely absurd. I don't believe that unless major lobbying occurs, that will ever happen with any micronations within the U.S. What he...
Excuse me.
Bless you. He's I believe he's just looking for attention. I believe that he's just lying to get people on his side, which is never the way to go. I've learned from experience. I will never lie to people to get them to like me, because that it usually doesn't reflect on who you are as an actual person. If James actually told the truth about things, about Catan, about his kingdom, that he would experience better. I don't know the exact word. I guess he.
Would it be fair to say that if James didn't lie so much, he would have more friends?
I would say that with 100% certainty that he would. He wouldn't be seen as hostile. He would be seen as another person in the community.
Fair enough. Let's move on from Catan now and talk about your involvement in micronational organisations. Which micronational organisations is Fitzerland currently part of, and what are these projects?
We are currently involved with the United Micronations, which could change its name soon. We are involved with the United Sovereignties. We are very involved with that. We are involved. What are we also involved? We are involved with a very small group called the Alliance of Micronational Republics, made 6 months ago. Pretty much nothing has happened within it, but we like to stop in sometimes. This was before we even had a Twitter that we actually started this. We also have we're involved with that, even though it's slowed down. we're excuse me. We are involved with the. We just agreed. I wouldn't really call this like an organization, but we just signed the Niquitwitu agreement with Victorium to allow passage between our two nations. We've also started projects in the NEMU, the New England Micronational Union, which plans on not uniting in a sense that we're like making a new micronation. We're uniting like the EU to a lesser extent. Not
If I can just
Not
if
as-
I can just stop you for a moment,
Mhm.
that the part of the show is coming up where it's question time in a few minutes. So to the live audience watching now, if you've got any questions for Max, please post them in the comments down below. Yeah, to continue about the Nemo.
The NEMU, I've just started. I started about probably 2 weeks ago, but it will just unite New England micronations. I have Siberian on the side. I'm looking for Salvermia. I'm also searching MicroWiki and Twitter for New England micronations. Looking word of mouth. Pretty much, unfortunately, not much has happened, but we plan on expanding this soon. I'm not sure about any other organizations that we're a part of. I believe that's it. I could be totally wrong. But yeah, I believe that's all we're involved with. I truly wish we were involved. But yeah, we're not too involved with anything. It takes Fitzerland on neutrality really strongly, huh?
So, talk about your involvement in the United Sovereignties. If I'm correct in saying the United Sovereignties actually took the recently mentioned Catan down. How did you help in that situation?
I am the, I guess, head of United militaries and the USOF. That's really more than a title. I have done nothing with it besides show off plans. But I had actually made a few pieces of propaganda that I'm actually looking at right now. They're pinned to my corkboard. I wouldn't call them like famous, but there's it's over Catan, you're crumbling, let's finish the job, and there's the anvils falling on the cracking flag of Catan. Each depicting a member or former member of USA. I've also got the Aim for the Fraud dartboard one where it's the same people with darts being thrown at the flag of Catan. I've also done like I wouldn't call them really minor, but like personal projects with I remember doing with Pharaoh way back in the day. Now that I think about it, it's probably 2 months ago. But Pharaoh, I did one where Michael the Archangel and his battle with the devil. I did one where Pharaoh was Michael and the devil was Catan. I've also done ones with former Demolica. I forget which ones specifically, but I've done those. One specifically for Miriam, and many others. I'm probably forgetting a lot, just because so many people want at least one. Not to sound, I apologize if that sounded cocky or something like that. But so many people hate K10, and they should. Um, so just to like hit it, like we don't like you either. They come to me and ask for propaganda sometimes. So I've done a lot of those through the use of sometimes not.
Mm. Alright, well, fair enough. There was one question earlier posted by Paul McPhee.
Mm-hmm.
He's the treasurer of my nation right now. What do you both think about the current state of the United Kingdom and thoughts on Brexit?
Should I go first on this one?
Yeah, you go.
Okay. I I'm for the EU, even if they have some terrible ideas like Article 13. But the EU is a great organization for bringing people together. And I believe if the UK actually leaves the EU for good, that it won't really be beneficial. I've heard many arguments that it would probably ruin some of the economies in Northern Ireland and around Southern England. I'm not sure about the backing of that, but I've heard that. And I also, there's also the possibility that it will actually ruin the UK, like actually for real. Scotland, from what I've heard, is very pro EU from maps of election and so forth. So if it all goes through and Scotland says we're out, sorry, UK can get out, and then they join the EU, then there's a possibility that the UK actually loses Scotland. But overall, I'm not for the leaving of the UK from the EU.
Fair enough. My thought on it is, personally, personally at the time I didn't want the UK to leave the EU. I'm a pro EU, not really, but I mean now with the recent surfacing of this Article 13 and all this total garbage with Jean-Claude Juncker and Theresa May, she's just messing it up. She's just not doing her job. She doesn't want to do her job. She's pro EU, and the British public in the House of Commons pretty much hates her at this point. So she doesn't have much time left in office before she gets removed, hopefully. In regards to Scotland, the First Minister of Scotland, Nicola Sturgeon, said that she's not going to be pushing for a second referendum this year. There probably won't be another one next year, but should the leaving go tits up, I can really see Scotland saying, okay, I want another referendum, and this time I'm gonna have it. One of the main points for the referendum of Scotland in 2014, where one of the main arguments was, oh yeah, if you leave the UK, you're not gonna have EU membership anymore. So I feel like a lot of people voted no in that respect. And it was thrown back at us 2 years later because people in England are just cunts. I mean, it's just like we were ripped from it 2 years later anyway. So either way, we were gonna lose membership, and I mean, this time it wasn't our fault, but that's I apologise for my vulgar language on that, but that's how I feel about England, and I just don't like England in the slightest. But yeah, there's been no further questions from the live audience. Do you have any questions or anything that you would like to say before we end this week's episode?
Myself?
Yeah. Questions that you might have for me or something that you want to say? In fact, let me ask you a question. How can people contact you on Twitter about getting stuff made for the Micronation?
You can contact through our main Twitter at Fitzish Gov. You can also contact me.
How would you spell that?
It would spelled FITZISH GOV.
Yeah.
You can also contact me on at FitzishPrez, at FITZISH PRES. You can contact me through our email, Fitzish or Fitzerland newsletter. That's FITZ ERLAND dot newsletter NEWSLETTER at gmail.com. I don't think I need to spell that. I mean, if you want to get like deep into it, you can contact me on my Discord, M Bearden, uppercase MBIERDEN. I don't know if this is like.
It's usually a hashtag and a full number.
Hashtag 4031.
Okay.
Yeah, come find me.
Well, yeah. Well, that's all the time that we've got for this week's episode. Join me next week when I'll be hosting the first dual interview on the radio service with Victorium and the aforementioned Bronland. So yeah, thanks everyone for listening tonight. Max, thanks a lot for your time.
Thanks for having me.
And that's it. Bye.